What's up everyone, welcome back to Fight Night. Today let's get started with some interesting MMA news. Roger Jackson has pleaded not guilty to felony and misdemeanor battery charges stemming from his alleged assault on Psychos 2. He's scheduled to return to court in November and could face up to 7.5 years in prison if convicted.
How do you feel about heading into court today? I know a lot of fans want to know what's running through your mind. I know, especially because you're facing, some charges right now. Do you feel remorseful about what happened? Do you have anything to say to your fans? Thank you, Raja.
Khabib Nurmagomedov shares a powerful post on Instagram declaring that his team doesn't care about outside opinions. He writes that whether people love or hate him, it makes no difference because they are the best team in the world, one that has trained and stood together since childhood. Khabib said, "You can hate us or you can love us, we don't care. We're the best team in the world who have been training and standing together since childhood." Alex Pereira celebrates his victory over Magomed Ankalaev by visiting the same tire shop where he once worked before becoming a UFC champion. Sharing a photo from the spot, Pereira referenced Ankalaev's pre-fight comments and said, "Ankalaev was right, this is a place that is a very beautiful story."
Fala aí pessoal, como prometido, né? Falei que depois da luta, né? Eu ia voltar na borracharia, o Ankalaev tava certo. A gente tá aqui hoje, né? Aqui marcando presença, como sempre. Sempre quando eu venho pro Brasil, eu venho pra borracharia. E é isso aí, pessoal. Aqui, um lugar aqui tem uma história, muito bonita. Chama.
You might have seen this clip as a normal troll video, but no, Chama is not coming slow this time, as if you closely notice, then you will find out Podin is a master in trolling. In that clip, Pereira wrote Ankalaev on a tire while his name Podin was written on the hammer, recalling how he hammered the Dagestani fighter on UFC 320. Kamaru Usman expresses his desire to see a third fight between Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev, believing both fighters underperformed in their last meeting due to undisclosed issues. He insists that for the trilogy, there should be no excuses, emphasizing that this fight is for all the marbles, and both men must hold themselves accountable and deliver their best.
Yes, of course, I would love to see the trilogy, because this Ankalaev Pereira didn't give us his best performance because there was something going on behind closed doors. Ankalaev didn't give us his best performance because there was something going on behind closed doors. This is for all the marbles. You have to govern yourself. I don't care what you're coming into this trilogy fight with. This is it. This is the trilogy fight. You have to govern yourself. We don't hear these things once you win, right?
Kamaru Usman further adds that Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev should complete their trilogy, saying both lost their titles under tough circumstances. He stresses there should be no excuses in the third fight, and notes the White House card in June gives them enough time to prepare. Usman calls Ankalaev one of the most well-rounded fighters in the division, but adds that if the trilogy doesn't happen, Ankalaev versus Jiri Prochazka would also be a great matchup.
Pereira loses the title. We heard what happened, right? Now, Ankalaev lost the title, and we're hearing what happened. So the third fight, I do believe, is for all the marbles. You have to govern yourself to get to the fight as healthy as possible. This is part of our job. This is what makes our job so damn hard, is to govern yourself and try to get in there as healthy as possible, because there's no excuses, especially if that trilogy fight happens. And I think potentially it could happen, because the White House card is not until June. Right now, we're in the beginning of October, November, December, January, February. That's almost 8 months away. So is Pereira willing to sit for 8 months to wait for that card? I don't know. So Ankalaev, I do think Ankalaev is extremely talented. I do think he one of the most well-rounded guys in that division, if not the most well-rounded guy in that division. And so I would love to see a trilogy. If not, then Ankalaev and Jiri Prochazka, I think is a damn good fight.
Mike Tyson reveals that even during his prime, he would never have fought in the UFC because the money wasn't worth it. He points out that 5 of the biggest UFC fighters combined couldn't earn what he made in his boxing career, highlighting the vast financial gap between boxing and MMA.
You in your prime, you would have been a UFC fighter or something like that.
Because then the biggest UFC, 5 of the biggest UFC fighters combined couldn't match my pay. That's just it.
It wasn't worth the pay.
No, I want to be the biggest fighter, the biggest purse. I want all that stuff. Mike Tyson fights, he shuts everything down. The biggest purse.
That's it.
Charles Oliveira believes Justin Gaethje will be next in line for the lightweight title shot. He also predicts that if Islam Makhachev defeats Jack Della Maddalena, Ilia Topuria could move up to welterweight in pursuit of new challenges.
I want to talk about you. Who do you think gets the next title shot at lightweight?
Cara, é muito louco. Eu acho que o cara que tá mais próximo é o Gaethje. Eu acho que esse é o cara que vai acontecer, é o que já tá saindo, entendeu? O Arman tá com luta marcada, ou pode ser o Perpímetro, pelo tipo, os dois se odeiam, pode ser os dois. Ou também tudo pode acontecer. Em novembro agora, luta Madalena e Isla. Ele também pode subir de categoria para tentar o terceiro campeonato, então tudo pode acontecer.
Dylan Dennis opens up about the chaos that unfolded during the infamous UFC 229 brawl. He recalls that before the event, he had been posting pictures of Khabib Nurmagomedov drinking whiskey, which angered many of Khabib's supporters. Dennis says they flooded his post with threats, claiming they would find and kill him. During the fight, he noticed Khabib directing comments toward him from inside the octagon, but he chose to ignore them and focus on cornering Conor McGregor.
Yeah, I just also wanted to kind of go back to the Khabib kind of situation from your vantage point. What kind of go through the events of that fight? What from your perspective happened, and what led to that kind of the infamous brawl that we all know?
So actually, it was, I don't know if it was months, because this was a long time ago now. Months or weeks before the fight happened, they were commenting on my picture because I was posting like Khabib drinking whiskey and stuff like that, and that for them is like crazy. But they were like writing on my picture like, "We're gonna kill you, we're gonna find you," and like his team, and like they were like writing crazy shit. So I kind of knew it was gonna be hostile, and like I knew like all the shit was going down. And then during the fight, when I was in the corner, I was like, you know, when you're behind the cage, like Khabib was like saying shit to me and like talking, like saying shit. And I was like ignoring it. I was like trying to focus on Conor. And then like there was one time against the fence when he was against the fence and he was like saying shit to me, like talking to me. So I'm like, all right, and we were talking shit back and forth, and like it was what it was. And then
Dylan Dennis also recalled the chaotic moment when Khabib Nurmagomedov leapt out of the octagon after defeating Conor McGregor. He describes how Khabib jumped with both his feet and hands in a strange motion, leaving him unsure whether to block a kick or a punch. Dennis jokes that he should have rushed forward and tackled Khabib, but in the heat of the moment, he didn't know what was coming. He explains that after Khabib landed, the two exchanged blows, and then Islam punched him in the back of the head during the brawl.
Through the, like, I don't remember what it was. He came over, he pointed at me, and I was like going like this, and I was like, "Come here, bitch," or whatever. And then he threw the mouthpiece. I was like, "Dude, I don't like." It's hard to remember everything. And I said like something to him, and he said something back, and then also he just fucking jumped. And I was like, all right, well now it's a fight. But he jumped in such a weird way where it was like he jumped with his feet and his hands like kind of like a, it was like the weirdest thing. So I didn't know what to block. I didn't know what to block a kick or a fucking punch.
Like,
Yeah, it was like I'm like this because I don't know. He jumped with his feet in the air and his hands up. So I was like, am I getting drop kicked right now, or am I getting? I should have just ran forward and tackled him. That would have been the best thing. But in the moment, I didn't know what the he was going to hit me with. So he landed, and then we got into that brawl, and then fucking security's holding me, and then Islam and all of them are fucking punching me in the back of the head. But yeah, during the whole fight, it was kind of building up like in the corner. Like no one actually saw it. If you watch it back, like I was sitting in the corner, he was like saying shit to me, and like Islam and them were like saying shit to me. And then and then against the fence, he was talking to us when he had Conor down. So I kind of knew it was kind of building up, and then after it was just like you want to come at me, like, you know, whatever. And then it just turned into a brawl.
Dylan Dennis demands a rematch with Islam Makhachev, claiming Islam left the cage and landed multiple strikes on him during the UFC 229 chaos. He says he could have pursued legal action but chooses not to, and now wants the chance to settle the score inside the octagon.
Bro, give me fucking Islam. Give me someone easy.
You can't get them, boys. You can't get them. You gotta start.
What do you mean? Islam jumped out of the cage and punched me in the head 7 times.
Yeah, what about that?
Jumped out of the cage.
What about that?
Come on. So let me get my revenge. Like, I never sued the UFC for that. I could have sued them for millions.
You know, now
I never did anything.
Dylan Dennis revisits the UFC 229 incident, claiming he got the better of both Khabib Nurmagomedov and Islam Makhachev and expressing interest in fighting Islam. Demetrius Johnson quickly interrupts him, pointing out that Khabib choked out Conor McGregor while Dennis watched. Dennis responds that he still managed to land a few shots during the chaos and insists that a Conor rematch would play out differently.
He goes to 170. He has to relinquish his belt and misfits. He's gonna take a low pay cut. 10 to show, 10 to win.
Champion versus champion, me versus Islam. Come on.
Come on.
Backstory, the storyline of him punching me in the head. This is the real belt. I beat him that night, so I beat Khabib that night too. So this is the real belt.
You didn't beat Khabib that night. Khabib didn't retire.
Well, I'm gonna send you pictures after him running away after I hit him with the right hand.
Khabib choked your boy out, and you sat there and watched it happen.
Yeah, okay. All right. You want to be funny? I gave him a couple smacks after. Don't worry. He knows why. There's a picture of him running away.
Okay.
Get down to that rematch and see what happens. Conor trained great for that fight. You'll see what happens.
Islam Makhachev celebrates Shanko's UFC contract victory on the Contender Series with a playful jab, asking why Shanko still doesn't have a verification checkmark and jokingly suggesting he should ask Dana White for one.
Короче, вот наш брат с контрактом UFC вернулся. Что стало там? UFC файтер Чанко. Брат, что-то не... Почему у тебя галочки нет, Чанко? Работаем, да? Ты дядьке давно это не сказал, исправить момент надо. Футболку тоже контендер не снимает. Ты уже не контендер, снимай.
Dan Hooker views Arman Tsarukyan as the perfect opponent to get him back into title contention. He explains that Tsarukyan, being the top contender on a strong win streak, is the right test to prove himself. Hooker says defeating Tsarukyan would guarantee him a title shot, something he claims Dana White has also confirmed.
Tsarukyan's the number one contender. He's the number one contender that has to prove himself to get back in the mix. That's why I wanted to fight him, because I know that I know if I go in there with Arman Tsarukyan as your last win on a full fight win streak, then I know that beating him, the title shot is guaranteed, and which the boss.
Renato Moicano claims that Merab Dvalishvili's resume has surpassed Khabib Nurmagomedov's, and after watching Merab defend his title for the third time in a single year and aim for a fourth defense, Moicano argues that Merab's activity and consistency make him the greater fighter.
Merab is better than Khabib. You can hate me all you want. Merab's resume is better than Khabib.
No, pound for pound.
Prove me wrong.
His resume definitely is.
Yes.
His resume is
Merab's resume is better than Khabib, my brother.
Merab is
just facts. Facts.
You can make the argument right now that Merab's the best fighter in the whole UFC.
The best fighter in the UFC, man.
Kenny Florian describes Merab Dvalishvili as the Khabib of the bantamweight division, praising his relentless dominance and unmatched work rate. He believes Merab's toughest test may come from a featherweight rather than a current bantamweight contender. Florian adds that Mario Bautista could be dangerous if he manages to neutralize Merab's wrestling, but still views Merab as the clear standout at 135 pounds.
I think his biggest threat, Ray, lies outside of the division at 145 pounds. That's what I think. Whoa. And and I heard, John talking about, him potentially going to 145. I don't know if it was, in the near future or not, but I don't see anybody as of right now. Again, I'm really curious about that next upcoming fight with Umar. I think, gosh, who are we talking about? Why am I blanking on his name?
So George
Mario Bautista. I think if he can put it together and show that he can truly counter wrestle, I think he's a legitimate threat.
Yeah.
But other than that, man, I don't know.
Yeah,
he's the Khabib at 135 pounds, really.
Well, 1,000,000%. 1,000,000%.
Khalil Roundtree shares an unbelievable story about Merab Dvalishvili, revealing that he sparred 5 full rounds inside the cage at noon on the very same day he was scheduled to fight at UFC 320. Roundtree insists the story is completely true, emphasizing Merab's unmatched work ethic and intensity.
Merab in the gym, it's really hard to say that he's any different in the gym than he is in the cage.
Really?
I promise you this is a 100% true story. At 12 o'clock in the afternoon on fight day, Saturday, October 4th, Merab sparred 5 rounds in the cage, live, on the day of his fight. Because that's just who he is.
That's unreal.
Yes.
5 full live rounds.
5 full live rounds at 12 o'clock, not even half a day before he has to be in the arena to put on the biggest fight of his career. That's just him. You cannot make it up. So to be around that, I mean, it's just another experience. Most guys will sit in the hotel room or try to collect their thoughts or do whatever, maybe even get like a bike ride in on the assault bike to kind of burn some energy. I've never in my life seen somebody spar 5 full rounds the day that they have to fight and go do another 5 full rounds with Cody Sanhagen. So like, yeah, it's just he's a different breed.
E sempre há pouco, né? Pra ver de perto. Olha. Olha, muito demais.
Charles Oliveira is focused on fighting for a championship next, whether it's the BMF belt or the division title. He adds that a matchup with Max Holloway would be a perfect way to cap off his career, calling it an ideal fight that could serve as his final bout in the octagon.
You've always been big on setting goals. At one point it was fighting Islam Makhachev again, then it was becoming UFC lightweight champion, now it's fighting home in Brazil. Once we get past Saturday, what's the next big goal for Charles Oliveira?
BMF, uma luta importante, porque eu creio que essas são as lutas que vão me levar ao título.
For sure, just winning this fight and fighting for a title, whether it's a BMF or a title in the division. These are great things that will, and this is a great fight that will propel me towards the title.
BMF fight sounds sick. How high would you rate the idea of fighting Max Holloway? Because I feel like that's one that the fans would go crazy for.
Acho que todos gostariam de ver essa luta. Por que não seria minha próxima luta?
I think a lot of people, everyone would love to see this fight. I want this to be my next fight.
So this is all we have from today's video, and hopefully you enjoyed it. Share your thoughts in the comments section and subscribe to our channel to get more updates about the UFC.